What is outward, what is inward, this is all you know. Just in case someday if you get enlightened, you will lose that also.
Nice.
Yes, that's what happened to me.
Namaste, world raisers. Sabine and Roger here. Let's watch How to Live Happily together, a request by Vijay Sate.
Yeah, awesome. Can't wait for this. I love to live happy, and I'm always looking for ways to live more happily. So let's find out from the man, the myth, the legend, the one and only Sadhguru.
Good evening, sir. I happened to listen to a lecture of yours that talked about joy and happiness. You talked that joy depends on oneself, whereas happiness depends on others. I tried a little while to practice it, but what I found was that I was not able to sustain those small moments of joy. I could experience joy when I was completely into it, very passionate about what to do, but somehow when an external person or say some external entity recognizes what I do, the joy is just out of my life. So how do you sustain those moments of joy and not succumb to these pleasures of happiness? If you could, it would be nice if you can share the difference between joy and happiness to this crowd too.
See, right now, if I tell you, or if you're not me, let's say your dean tells you, from tomorrow all of you what kind of clothes you should wear, immediately there'll be protests in the college. If your dean goes further and says, everybody must eat only 4 idlis in the morning, if your dean tells you everybody should get up at 5 o'clock in the morning, let's say he put 10 different rules like this, physical things to do, you will think he is trying to convert you into slaves and you will shout and scream for your freedom, isn't it? But look at yourself and see, right now, somebody else, if they determine what should happen around you, you feel like a slave. But right now, somebody else is determining what should happen within you. Is this not slavery? Somebody can decide whether you're happy or unhappy. Is this not slavery? Somebody can decide whether you will be a pleasant human being or an unpleasant human being. Is this not slavery? What happens within you, somebody else determines. This is the worst form of slavery, isn't it? Isn't it so?
Yes.
It is just that because everybody is like that, it seems to be normal. It is not. It is not normal. Just because everybody is like that, it does not become normal. This human being, life around you will not happen, will never happen 100% the way you want it. And it should not happen. Because if everything happens the way you want it, where do I go? I'm very happy it's not happening your way. And now that you're a student, you're still a student, I believe about 60–70% is happening your way. When you get married, the percentage will get reversed. We don't know. Well, we don't know whether which way it'll go. So if life around you will never happen 100% the way you want it, and it should not. Unless you're living with machines, life will not happen and even those machines will freak on you, isn't it? And the machines troubling you every day for something or the other, they do. So, outside will never happen 100% the way you want it, and if your happiness or your joyfulness, or let's not use all these so many words, essentially it is pleasantness versus unpleasantness. For pleasantness, we have many names, we call it peace, happiness, joy, bliss, ecstasy. For unpleasantness, we have many names, stress, anxiety, fear, tension, whatever else, madness, whatever. Pleasantness versus unpleasantness. If your pleasantness is dependent upon what happens around you, the chances of you being pleasant all the time is remote, isn't it? In the very nature of things, it's not possible. Only if you are able to create a distance between this and that, it is possible in the sense, whenever things don't work, there is a habit in lots of people, they will look up. Upar wala. Isn't it? The whole world is looking up. Looking up. See, you know the planet is round? You know this? The planet is round and you're not sitting on top of the North Pole, you're sitting in Chennai, here in the tropical climate, and the damn planet is spinning. So if you look up, you're always looking up in the wrong direction. Isn't it?
That's true.
You're invariably looking up in the wrong direction, isn't it so?
There is no up.
Maybe at a certain moment of whatever Greenwich Mean Time, 0 hours, when you looked up, maybe you hit the heaven. Rest of the time, you're always looking in the wrong direction. Isn't it so? So in this cosmic space, is there somebody who knows which is up and which is down? Does somebody know?
No.
Huh? Is there somewhere, is it marked this side up? Nobody knows which is up, which is down, it's just an assumption, isn't it? Do you know really which is north, which is south? In the real sense, do you know what is north and south? It is just for our convenience, we just fixed it, isn't it? Yes or no? Do you know what's east and west? No. Do you know what is forward and backward? You do not know. None of these things you know. There is only one thing you can be certain of right now, this is, you know what is outward, what is inward. This one thing you're sure, isn't it? This is inward, this is outward. This is the only privilege you have. What is outward, what is inward, this is all you know. Just in case someday if you get enlightened, you will lose that also.
Nice.
Yes. That's what happened to me. Now I don't know which is inward, which is outward, which is me, which is not me, that's why I'm all over the world. Because I don't know whether this is me or that is me. So, now you say, I know what is inward, what is outward, let's examine this a little more. Can you see me right now, all of you? Can you see me? Just point out where I am. Use your hands and point out. Can you see me? Oh, you got it wrong. You know I'm a mystic. You're getting it completely wrong. Now, this light is falling upon me, reflecting, going through your lenses, inverted image in your retina, you know the whole story, right? Where do you see me right now? Within yourself. Where do you hear me right now? Within yourself. Where have you seen the whole world? Within yourself. Have you ever experienced anything outside of yourself? Everything that ever happened to you, darkness and light happened within you, pain and pleasure happened within you, joy and misery happened within you. Have you ever experienced anything outside of yourself? No. So what I am asking you is, what happens within you? Who should determine how it should happen?
Me.
What happens within you? Who should determine how this should happen?
Me.
Somebody else? Definitely you should determine what should happen within this, isn't it? So if you determine what's happening within this, your whole experience of life will be determined by you, nobody else but you, isn't it? The events around you may not be determined by you, but how your experience of life is on this planet is 100% determined by you if you take charge of this. If you leave it loose, just about anybody will determine it. They will, not consciously, they also like you by accident.
He went deep there.
Yeah, fantastic, loved it. Wow, this is a great, great talk, right? What a great question that was, right? So happiness, how do you, how to be happy, how to be joyful, right? Yeah, and that's in today's world, right? we're just so externally focused, and then we're projecting blame on everything outside of ourselves for how we feel, right? When we really need to take charge of our own experience, because everything, ultimately, we're experiencing it within ourselves, right? So there's the five senses, but beyond the senses, there is the mind and the experiencer, and everything, is being experienced within us, right? So I loved it when he touched on that. I think I got a bit of an insight there, right? When he just said, you're looking, when he asked, like, where am I right now? And then, I played along with Sadhguru. And, and he's like, no, you're wrong. I'm not out here, I'm in here. And that's the higher teachings, right? Where there's an infinite field of consciousness, there's one big mind, and we're all within it. And then self-realization is like the realization of that self, as the absolute, right? Like Ramana Maharshi and Nisargadatta Maharaj talking about it, right? How they are that, right? And everything within it, they're one with everything, right? So everything is within, their experience. And these enlightened beings, right? Sadhguru, right? Touching on that we need to take charge of our inner experience. And really practice. And it comes about through, practicing the spiritual path and the teachings, right? Taking in the wisdom and the knowledge, however that may be, right? Following a teacher, learning from them, and then we got to practice. We got to go within. And, and get some realizations, and then we understand that everything is arising within the mind. And we can maintain a state of happiness, which is so necessary in this world, because even just raising our levels of consciousness into these higher joyful states, it helps the whole, because we're all part of this infinite field of consciousness. So we raise our level of consciousness into happiness and joy, acceptance and love, peace, and eventually enlightenment. Then there'll be more of these beings, raising the field, right? And then we get the younger generation coming up in a higher, field of loving and caring and kindness. And then they will, adopt that and take that on, right? They're going to be influenced by us. So, yeah, great teaching. Yeah, so I love this. So I'm no longer going to let Sabine affect my happiness and joy.
Praise the Lord.
Yeah, so just on a personal note, me and Sabine's relationship's kind of been fluctuating a little bit recently, right? Sabine's been getting some higher spiritual realizations, and I can see it, she's been advancing, right? And then what happened to me is I deflated a little bit. I don't know what is going on, some karma at play, perhaps, but I've been very, touchy. And it's not like me, so...
No.
Anyways, Sadhguru has inspired me.
Yeah, it's very cute, though, because he's never been like that. He's always been like the... how would I say? Grounded, like a rock, like solid.
Yeah,
like,
not totally affected.
No.
But, yeah, so it's interesting, right? And that's part of, being in a relationship on the path together. So it's funny, too, because I recognize what's happening, from a place of awareness, and I can see it. But I'm aware of the feelings, right? And I'm still, I'm expressing it because I don't want to block it either. So at the same time, while I'm really angry, I'm also laughing at myself for being angry, because I see how silly it is. But... it's happening, right? And hopefully there's some karma purifying. I just stick to the intention, right? So, pursuing the teachings, spiritual growth for the benefit of all beings, and I hold that as my intention. And then I trust, stay on the path, and then whatever arises, right? And nothing to accept, nothing to reject. Everything is appearing to the mind. So
yeah, I think it's a good sign. Sometimes we are very quick in judging. This is not spiritual. This shouldn't be this way. This is an obstacle. But yeah, you just don't know. You just do your best, and you hold your intention in mind, and you just keep going, and then out of the blue, things will change.
That's what happened to Sabine here. No, it's fantastic, right?
It's something to rejoice in, really.
Yeah, when all of a sudden you could see some significant progress, it's amazing. So thank you so much for joining us. If you like this video as much as we did, please hit that like button. Remember to subscribe. It really helps the channel. Let us know what you think down in the comments. And remember, raise yourself.
And raise the beautiful world. Thank you so much, everyone. And how about you put a big smiley face as a comment into the comment section to spread some joy and happiness into the world. Yeah. And a very special thank you to all our members. We love you.
Peace.